What's up, everybody? I'm Peanut Tillman, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. And with me, as always, my trusty co-host, Roman. I'm swagging. I got the kicks. Harper, what's up, man? I'm feeling this vibe. I like the
just
vibe.
going to put them up there. I appreciate that.
Across the leg, but I just was like the shoes. You ain't have to.
It's all good. I'm really excited for our guest today. This guy's a legend. He was the man before the man, and it's just really interesting to be able to hear his thoughts from what he did post-career as well. And so really looking forward to it.
This dude revolutionized the passing game in the
Yeah, he
NFL.
did.
Hall of Fame quarterback, played his entire career, 15 years for the San Diego
Superchargers.
Yes. 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year, one of the most respected broadcasters
Yes, he
in
is.
the game. CBS, ABC, ESPN. Man, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the pod, Dan Fouts!
Yes.
I like the little. Welcome to the pod, sir.
Well, I hope I can live up to that introduction. But you read it just as I wrote it. That was awesome.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. No, come on, man. We appreciate you coming on the pod.
Well, I had to check this out because I've heard about you two, and I want to see if everything I heard was true.
Well,
so far, it's very true.
Well, thank you. I mean, the first thing you led was, I called quite a couple of you guys' games. And I was like, dang, Dick, time flies.
It does.
And, you're still looking good. Could you share with everybody what you tell everybody as far as people ask about your age and your look?
Well,
Because this is good advice.
Well, it is for me. It works because I always get a really positive compliment when I tell people that I'm 85 years old.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, I just added 10 to it.
They say how great you look.
Amazing. You look amazing.
For what?
For a man of your stature, tell me this. Have you always rocked the beard? I mean, from your pictures from way back, I've never seen you without the beard. Has it always been your look? Maybe I'm going to go with that same thing.
Well, in 1976, or was it 77, Terry Bradshaw wore a beard in the Super Bowl, okay? Mm-hmm. And maybe it was 75. So anyway, it doesn't matter. And so at that time, beards were not allowed in the NFL.
Whoa, what do you mean not allowed?
No.
What?
No, hey, we're talking.
That was a rule?
We're talking Stone Age now. So when he rocked the beard in the Super Bowl, I said, well, I'm going to try it because that's where I want to go. I want to go to the Super Bowl someday. So I started growing it in 1976, and you do the math. That's 50 years old, this whole thing here.
Oh, man, I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know it was not like you couldn't have one. Like,
Yeah.
no, you know what? Nobody can, no beards. Let's just keep that.
I'm
clean.
not sure it was written down, but we all knew it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just wasn't the look everybody was
wasn't
going
the
for.
look. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you still keep up with the game today? And if so, who are your favorite quarterbacks?
Well, I'm lucky enough to still broadcast the Chargers preseason games.
Mm-hmm.
And so their quarterback, I think, is pretty good, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
He is.
Plus, he's an Oregon Duck. So we've got two of things going there that point me in his direction. But, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks that are playing. Mm-hmm. They've really opened up the game, obviously. And it's exciting. It's challenging. And I really admire the way that they're so well protected these days and so well compensated. It just warms my heart that these poor guys are having to go through this rough game like they are.
Oh, my God. I'm not a fan. Obviously, none of us are about the rules, how they protect them, and the sack, and you can't land on them. Do you think you could have played a lot longer if the rules would have benefited you the way they are today?
I think I could have squeezed in a couple. The thing was my second to last year, they had fired Don Coryell. And if you know anything about football, as you guys know, is that, they get rid of the head coach, and the next guy they're looking for to get rid of is that old quarterback. And that was me. If Coryell was still coaching today, I'd try to find a way to get out on that field, even at my age of 75.
So,
I'm so used to that.
I know. As I
I'm
keep
like,
using
no,
that.
dude, I'm 55.
I would like to know, just like as a look back, was the quarterback position still such a – because now everybody only likes to talk about quarterbacks. And if you don't have a quarterback, you don't really have a chance. I don't believe that was the same case when you were playing, But I'm asking you because I would like to know your answer on that.
Well, I played against, some of the great quarterbacks of all time. I mean, I played against Marino. I played against Montana, Plunkett, Kenny Anderson, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, these were iconic quarterbacks. So, and I know I'm leaving out, Elway. I can go down the list. And the thing about my mindset before a match against a guy like Joe Montana is that I knew I had to be absolutely above the best of my game because he was going to be. That's how good he was. So that was always, I played against Kenny Anderson one day, and he completed his first 15 passes against us in a row right before he even got the ball. And I said, boy, this is going to be a challenge today. And it was, but that was a great part about it. After the game, you could really congratulate a great competitor.
You guys didn't do jersey swaps back then, huh?
No, we only had one jersey. Well, we had two. We had one for the road.
Yeah, home and away.
But in San Diego, we wore white at home too, so we wore out that white jersey.
So tell me this: when you were broadcasting, who were the top 3 quarterbacks that you would say that you watched? Well, that's kind of, you broadcast for a while, so I don't want to give you that one. That seems too easy or too
Well,
broad.
I tell you one, talk about Drew Brees coming into the Hall of Fame this year. Brent Musburger and I, back in the day at ABC, Joe Tiller, the head coach of the Boilermakers, they were setting the Big Ten on fire with a forward pass. Big Ten wasn't ready for Drew Brees, and they had so much success. And I remember watching Drew and watching how he could see the field, anticipate the receivers, just manipulate that offense right down the field. And Purdue is upsetting the big teams in the Big Ten. And he took all of that talent, first of it to the Chargers, and then down to New Orleans. So because he's here for this weekend, he's at the forefront of my mind as far as guys I watched and admired. But I mean, I did broadcast for a long time.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of great players.
You actually, if I'm not, and I could be wrong, but were you the one that gave Drew the news that
I did.
How was that? How was that moment?
Well, it's an honor.
Yeah.
First of all, a Hall of Famer has to knock on the door.
Yeah.
Okay, it can't just be anybody. So you walk up to his house, and first of all, you're looking at this mansion and going, "Oh boy, he's doing good.
He's doing good for himself."
And I remember he had this big glass door that had metal within the door and stuff, and I banged on that as hard as I could. And I could see him coming. He could see me. He sees the jacket. And he just breaks down, basically. He didn't start crying, but he was very emotional. And it's an honor to be able to change somebody's life in an instant. Because when you're in the Hall of Fame, your life has changed.
Yeah.
In what way?
The best way possible. I remember you guys playing, okay? You had iconic names, Roman, Peanut, and the way you played stood out. So you want people to remember that.
Right.
Well, in the Hall, you don't have to worry about it. You're automatically remembered because of the Hall. And so because of that, you have opportunities, obviously, but it's really the brotherhood. And as teammates, that's what do you miss from the game?
It's the people,
Teammates.
the connections.
I don't remember who won that game. I don't care. Okay, so I threw 5 interceptions. None of them were my fault. You know how that is. You missed a tackle. You fumbled a kick or whatever. Things. Yeah. Or you caused a lot of fumbles actually. But it's that.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about this weekend. We have over 120 returning Hall of Famers. That's a phenomenal number.
Yeah.
And I've been coming back now for 30 plus years. And, we always start our luncheon that we have. It's called the Ray Nitschke Luncheon, where it's just the Hall of Famers in the new class. And we start the luncheon with a video of guys we have lost.
Yeah.
And you've lost a brother. He lost a teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray Nitschke made it so clear at this luncheon before it was named after him that this is a team you can't get cut from. You can't be waived off. You can't be traded from. You can't quit. You can't die off this team.
Mm-hmm. That's deep.
That's special.
Yeah.
Very special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So when you got that call, who came knocking on your door?
Well, back in the day, we had a little what was it, telegraph. No, I got a phone call.
Okay.
There was no knock.
There was no knock.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
How often
But that
you wear
ring, that ring was cool.
How often you wear that jacket?
Whenever there's an official event, I don't ever want to trust myself in getting spaghetti sauce on it. So, no.
Well, you're one of the few guys that actually wore the jacket in here for us.
Not one of the few. You're the only one to ever grace us with the honor of wearing the gold jacket.
Well,
to our pod.
they have your name in it, and they also have the number that you are of the Hall of Fame. So I'm number 165, class of 1993. And this is the second iteration of the jacket. The first ones were bright canary yellow. And so
I didn't know that.
I still have that one too.
Okay. I didn't know that at all.
I got one for you there, Dan. Have you always played quarterback? Was there ever another position you played? Like a receiver?
Man, you've seen this body. Come on, bro.
Running back?
Come on. Give me a break, will you? It's funny because, what age do you start playing football at?
Right.
I was like 6.
Yeah, I
Six,
started in 4th
7, 8,
grade.
9.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I was 11.
Okay.
And went to my mom and dad, and I said, I want to play Pop Warner. And they said, okay, that's fine. What position you want to play? I said, I want to be an end. I want to stand up at the end of the line of scrimmage, like they used to do. And my dad said, nope, you got to be quarterback or you're not playing. I said, Dad, I can't throw. He says, work on it. So that was it. I never played another position. I did punt once in a while.
Okay.
And not very well, but quarterback's it.
Did your dad coach you up since he wanted you to play quarterback?
No, my dad was the voice of the San Francisco 49ers for 20 years growing up.
Okay.
And so I got to go to 49er training camp. When I got to high school, I got to be a ball boy on the sidelines.
Oh, that's so cool.
I got to work in the booth with him, pick up
that's
25
awesome.
bucks a game, keeping stats. That was pretty cool for a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But, being on the sidelines, I was always on the opponent's sideline because I wanted to see Johnny Unitas. I want to see Gale Sayers. I want to see Butkus. In fact, Butkus yelled at me one time. He had hit Brody out of bounds about 10 yards out of bounds, really a cheap shot. And I was yelling at the official. I said, and he turns to me and says, shut up, kid.
It's amazing. Like, those are the moments that you remember.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sure.
You've been to 30 games,
Yeah.
and it's the one that Dick Butkus yelled at me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool, though, that, like, Larry Fitzgerald kind of did the same thing.
That's
he was, in Minnesota, he was a ball boy.
That's
you know,
right.
so I think that's kind of cool that it's like a full circle moment that you work at this club, the 49ers, and then you turn around and now you're in the league and you're a Hall of Famer. Like, that's pretty cool. That's a whole full circle moment.
I was really lucky because as a broadcaster in the Bay Area in the day, my dad covered Willie Mays.
Yeah.
He covered Wilt Chamberlain. He covered Y.A. Tittle and Hugh McElhenny. I mean, so I got to meet some of these, icons of sport.
Yeah.
Willie Mays, are you kidding me? I could still drive you in San Francisco to where he lived. He was that close to our house.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, your dad, shout out to him because he was a special person as well. And it's just so interesting because my dad was a coach. So you grew up around the game. You fall in love with it for so many other reasons outside of just playing it. Yeah. Who was your favorite player growing up watching who kind of maybe inspired you outside of your own father?
Wow. It's funny because I always wanted to be an end.
You really held on to this.
Huh?
You really held on to this. You wanted to play end bad.
Well, I could really catch, man. But the 49ers had a receiver named Dave Parks. He was from Texas Tech, and he was tough, and he was good. And John Brody was throwing to him all the time. And I love Brody, too. So those two I would put together as a couple of my favorites.
Yeah.
So you go to Oregon. You get drafted in the 3rd round to the Chargers. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Boy. Well, they also had a quarterback that they had traded for that year.
Johnny Unitas.
And we were 4th game of the year. And John was 40 years old, and he had very little left. But for some reason, he took me under his wing. Maybe it's because I bought him beer after practice once in a while. And he would give me the little subtleties. So I'd watch him in practice, and I said, God, why did you do that? What were you looking at? I was kind of a pest. And he would tell me about, well, you want to read this guy. If he's lined up, head up on the tight end, he always said, look for the strong safety. The strong safety, back in those days, very few coverages, okay?
Yeah.
The strong side zone, weak side zone, man to man. Basically, that was it. And he said, yeah, that's your tell. And I took that from day one that, this is how you read. Now you start fiddling around with different reads and stuff. So as you're at the line of scrimmage, you look out. And that's why I think quarterbacks in the shotgun are really at a disadvantage at times because they can't see depth of the corners as well. They can't hide their eyes as well. I mean, if you look at old films of Unitas dropping back, his head is moving up and down and sideways as he's going back. And what it's doing to the defensive backs is it's causing uncertainty as to where's he going with the ball.
True.
But in the shotgun, boom, they're looking right away. They catch the ball, they're looking because they have to.
Yeah.
And plus, they're looking down at the center to get the ball. So they're not looking as the ball is being snapped.
Right.
So, a corner can step up. He can go inside shade. He can go outside shade. All these things that give you an idea how you're going to get the ball to the guy you want to get the ball to. So I don't know if that answers your one moment, but that one moment, my first game, it's the 4th game of the year against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and they're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. Mean Joe Green, thank you, right there in the, tilted towards me. I didn't like that at all. And it's 38-0 at half. They got the 38, and they beat Johnny to a pulp, and they shoved me in the game. That was my first game, down 38-0.
Yeah.
You did score 21.
I was going to say you scored. You came in the game through 3 touchdowns. And,
but
then next.
Joe Green was on the sidelines most of the second half, and all those good guys.
They're on the sideline.
Right.
See, they didn't say that online. that was not in the.
The truth shall set you free, right?
I mean, I think Johnny did pretty good teaching you the little subtleties though, because in '79, that's kind of when it really took off. You finished runner up in the MVP race. You won Offensive Player of the Year. Under the Eric Coryell, you made 6 Pro Bowls. You led the NFL in passing yards for 4 straight seasons. What was it about that offense?
Don't stop.
Oh, I think that's all I got on my notes. I should have wrote more. I should have wrote more down. Damn it, Thomas. But no, what was it about that offense that just clicked for you?
Well, Don's commitment.
Yeah.
To the throw. We'd open the game with a draw play, okay, because we knew the defense was always concerned about what we might do. Mm-hmm. We might throw a bomb on the first play of the game. If we're backed up at the 5-yard line, most teams would want to run the ball and get room for the punter. Well, Coryell's philosophy was they've got to defend 95 yards. So let's make them defend 95 yards. Oh, and also the 53 wide. Mm-hmm. So his whole idea was how can we find that 2-on-1 that becomes a 1-on-none as far as your pass route. So fearless, and he had blind confidence in me that I had to earn.
Yeah.
But I've got Winslow, I've got Joyner, I got JJ, I got Wes Chandler, I got Chuck Muncie. He gave me tools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome players, great players, and great men. Guys that were selfless because the system tells me who to throw the ball to.
Right.
I never had – Charlie Joyner never said poop to me. Oh, man, I'm open. No. I remember when Wes Chandler came from New Orleans to take JJ's spot, he was so fast on certain routes, on everything, that I had to slow him down. I said, you're too fast. Don't run so fast until you catch the ball. You're killing me because everything I'm throwing is behind you. And so he had to, he's a smart guy.
It's like, how did you receive that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird thing to say to a guy.
Right, to a receiver, slow down.
Slow down, man. Because Charlie was not very fast, but he was my speed.
Yeah.
He was always on time for you.
Yeah. And Kellen, you're basically the same thing. So, but all those guys were great. They never complained. They were just fantastic.
So you just named off all those teammates, and could you give me like one or two like really good stories of just intimate times in that locker room? You guys' locker rooms were so different in the 70s and 80s than what the normal fan understands what it is now,
We had nicknames for certain, because defensive linemen would all dress in this area and the quarterbacks over here. And of course, the quarterbacks neighborhood was called the penthouse, and the defensive lineman, that was the ghetto, and on and on. That was the whole locker room. And you would come into our locker room at halftime. God, the smoke from the cigarettes were just too much. We were playing, it doesn't matter who, but we had coaches on the sidelines that were smoking. Jim Hannafin, the great offensive line coach with the Redskins and became a head coach, he was a big smoker on the sidelines. And he was our offensive line coach. And Ed White, a great right guard, Big Ed, he liked to smoke. And we've got 2 minutes to go 80 yards to win the game. And so, it's not going to be easy. So Ed slides over to Hannafin and says, Coach, give me a hit. So he takes a big drag on it. And as we're going out to the huddle, smoke is coming out of his helmet. And I said to the boys in the huddle, I said, boys, Big Ed's ready. Let's go.
We've heard stories of the smoking in the locker room.
Anderson, he told us a great story yesterday about just the locker room and everyone was smoking. Like, it just was a different time back in
it's like
70s
it was nothing.
and the 80s. It was just it was a thing to do. It was normal.
I once a week, you get your game plan on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you get that at 9 to 10, 11 o'clock. Then you have an hour or so break for lunch, and then you go out and practice. Well, I would take that time to obviously go over the playbook and the game plan and everything, and relax a little bit. And well, the best way to relax for me was to smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
Because you can't smoke a cigar fast.
It's very true.
Okay, so you just kind of, when you're reading it, puffing away, reading it. And sometimes a cigar smells better than a cigarette.
For sure.
And so it's called self-defense smoking.
I'm not mad at this.
I'm not mad at it either. I smoked one last night. It was just
very nice, easy.
Nice and easy, super smooth, real slow.
So tell me about 1981, because that was the season that everything really, really clicked for you. You had a career high in passing yards. Here's some more stats for you. 4,802 passing yards. You had 33 touchdowns. You averaged more than 300 yards a game passing the football, which is something nobody was doing at that time. You made the Pro Bowl, and the Chargers went to the AFC Championship game that year. We'll get to what happened in that game maybe a little bit later. But what made that year so special for you guys? How did it all connect?
Well, things build. Coryell's first year was 78. Then 79, we had a 12-4. And then next year, but the offense keeps growing.
Yes.
For us defensively, the ownership at the time kept firing our defensive coordinators. Jackie Simpson was first, Tom Bass, Jack Pardee. Okay. So because we were giving up a lot of points and a lot of yardage and everything. But our offensive coaching staff stayed together, basically. Joe Gibbs was there for 2 years. And when he goes to Washington to be their head coach and win Super Bowls, Ernie Zampese takes over. And he's there for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And so
I didn't know you had Zampese.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they still talk about him today, certain routes. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, then, he goes to Dallas and wins Super Bowls. And so, our offense just kept expanding.
Yeah.
It was an exponential offense. Well, let's see if Winslow can do this. Oh, okay. Well, let's try Wes at running back. Okay, well, let's do that for a week. Oh, now we got Little Train James. Okay, now Little Train James is this big, but he can play out wide. He can play running back. He can be in the slot. can return kicks, blah, blah, boom. Then we got Gary Anderson, another guy that can do a lot of things. So Coryell's thing was always, he would look into your background and say, I saw you played quarterback when you were 8th grade. Can you still throw? And, of course, coach, who's going to tell you?
I can still throw it.
Our backup tight end was Pete Holohan. Well, Pete was a high school quarterback, went to Notre Dame, but couldn't beat out the quarterback at Notre Dame, Joe Montana. Okay? But Pete could throw.
Yeah.
He could still throw. And so he would throw a touchdown pass every once in a while for us. So it's that type of, again, I'm not sure I really nailed down your question, but it's an exponential part of the whole experience.
No, it's about the team and the expansion of the offense. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many guys continue to go. And the fact that Coach Coryell, he was like, look, if you do something well, we're going to figure out how to do it.
Absolutely.
And we'll continue to add on to it. I mean, that's the synergy that you get. You talk about Drew Brees. I mean, that's what I saw him and Sean Payton continue to just build upon.
Yeah.
For 12 years, it felt like it just continued to get better and better and better. And it's because, well, I know what he does well. You give me a little piece next year was Alvin Kamara. Oh, he went from, you had Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
You had Pierre Thomas. You had Mark Ingram. You just continue to, the different wide receivers that they had and rotated through the years. That's what happened.
Well, back in, quote, the day, coaches were my way or highway.
Yeah.
Okay. And Coryell says, no, it's our way.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's the way we're going to do it.
I like that. Yeah. So I'm a Chicago guy, being a Bear, and I like the cold weather. You're a Southern Cali guy, San Diego Chargers.
You don't like cold weather. Don't give me that.
I do.
I hate it.
I do. I'm telling you.
Nobody
I embrace
likes
it.
cold
Lovey
weather.
Smith would always say it's bear weather. So we learned to embrace it. We never wore sleeves. It was just, that was the thing to do. So you being a Southern Cali guy, I want to talk about the Freeze Bowl. It was.
Why would you want to do that now?
The Freezer Bowl.
I'm sorry. The Freezer Bowl.
There we go.
Freezer Bowl. I apologize.
Roman, we were having a good conversation.
We were.
You and me.
He keeps trying to be distracted with all the negative over here. I don't understand.
If I'm being honest, Dan, this is actually his question. I'm just taking it because I should have just let him take the question. So why don't you go in and take the question?
No. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even have the same rundown as you.
Yeah. So what was it like playing in negative 59 degree? The wind chill was negative 59. What was that like? I know Kenny Anderson, he had frostbite in his right ear. You had icicles frozen to your beard.
You know what's funny is that there were only 2 guys that whole day that weren't wearing gloves because they didn't have gloves that you could throw in back in the day, Kenny and me. And I saw him, I see him all the time now, but I saw him about 10 years after that game. And I asked him, I said, how are your hands and your feet? He says, well, from here down, when it gets cold, I can't feel anything. And I said, me too. And so we both had the same type of frostbite. And so you go through your checkout physical at the end of your career, and you're trying to get that workman's comp thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's 75 degrees in San Diego, and I'm talking to a doctor about frostbite. I had no shot.
Didn't work. You should have came to Chicago. You'd have got that in no time.
I looked at some of the highlights of that game, and it was freezing. I have no idea. And back then, there's the same equipment that is on the sidelines and things of that nature just didn't exist.
Was there heaters on the sideline?
Yeah, but the guys that are standing in front of the heaters are the guys that don't play. And they've got these big capes on. One guy got his cape caught on fire. But the thing about my excuse is that it was really windy. Mm-hmm. And in that old stadium, I don't know if you guys remember.
In the Riverfront Stadium.
They had a big, door that would roll up. And if the opposing team was heading that direction, that door would be open. Now, when the Bengals went that way, they would close that door because the wind would come right off the river.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, I guess.
Well, and Kenny's got really big hands, and he could throw a spiral, just a beautiful spiral. And he did that day, and I don't throw a spiral as well as he does. And so that's my excuse, the wind and my
100%.
Yeah.
Well, the wind was blowing 30-plus miles per hour, and it was
a circular stadium.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Run the ball.
That was one of your best seasons, though. And that was the question that my brother really wanted to know because he called me this morning. I told him that you were coming on, and I was just like, he's like, dude, you got to ask him about that one game in '81, because if they don't lose to the Cincinnati Bengals, they end up playing the 49ers in the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
And how different would your career be looked at? How fun would that have been to play against Joe Montana in that game, the Air Coryell versus the 49ers? Like, do the 49ers get their first Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Like, everything could be so different
But you know,
if you play in that game.
That's part of playing. Right? You win some, you lose some, and the bigger ones you lose, the more that sticks with you. It's interesting that the next year we played the 49ers and then the Bengals back-to-back weeks, and we beat the 49ers in San Francisco 41-37, and then we beat the Bengals the next week 50-34. I mean, so we got a little bit of revenge on both of them. But no, you think about your big losses and how close you come, and but again, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
Because we go back to relationships and the men that you played with, you fought with, you lost, you won, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Would you say how much did injuries end up taking a toll on your body and maybe hinder your career? I looked at it. You only had how many games? You had three times in your 15 career where you played like the full season.
Yeah.
And I know we led off talking about the quarterbacks being protected, and nowadays, back then they had 2 steps.
Oh God. And the ground.
That part too. Like, how much did injuries and stuff maybe take a toll on your career when you look back on it?
When you think about playing, I mean, I once did a seminar with a trauma surgeon, and he asked me if I could remember my injuries, and I said sure. And can you remember them chronologically? And I said yes. And who they were? I said yes. I can, give you all the guilty guys. And so we put together, because I broke everything from my toes to my nose, and and who did it? One of the most amazing sacks, though, that hurt my shoulder was Lawrence Taylor. Surprise, right?
Yeah.
I'm hit, and I'm going down, and usually I'm going down this way. I'm going to be able to break my fall. Well, he tucked it. He pinned it to my side and drove my shoulder in the ground. And I remember thinking, as it's happening, because everything slows down and when they have these type of situations, I said, oh, this is not going to be good. It's right on the shoulder, separated my shoulder. And but that's how great he was, is that he could recognize how to, get somebody to the ground. Not that he was trying to hurt anybody, which he was, but that's how great he was as a player.
He tucked the shoulder. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like for defensive guys, if you're going to hit the quarterback, and I know you're not supposed to land on him now, but if you do, I'm not trying to throw it out there, but if you do tuck the shoulder,
I mean, you could do it with running backs, tight ends, receivers.
It's not a good look.
Not a good look.
No.
Mm-hmm. 15 years. What do you think led to your retirement in '87?
Well, number one, I had an opportunity to go to CBS.
Okay.
So I knew that, and Coryell had been fired the year before, and I could see the direction of the team.
Yeah.
Was not, I'm old quarterback. I'm old news, and new coach comes in. He's enthusiastic, wants his own players and everything. And '87 was my last year. Well, part of '87 was a strike year. Okay, and so
that got free agency. That was it.
Yeah, and
thank y'all, by the way, for that.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I went through 3 strikes.
The 81, 82?
74, 82, and 87.
Yeah.
And finally, we got, whatever. But, it's just the way it goes sometimes,
Yeah.
So you knew that you had the CBS thing, because a lot of times, this is the Second Acts podcast, so we like to make sure we talk about everybody's second act. And a lot of people say they need to take time. Myself personally, I took a year off. Peanut went right into something. You went right into broadcasting. Was this something you always thought you were going to do, especially because of your father, that you were going to be involved?
Well, my dad was a big influence, Roman. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Because hopefully some of the genes are there.
I think they are.
But the experience of being in a broadcast booth, keeping stats for him or whatever.
You already had that.
And watching the game and hearing how it's described, and it was just something that was fantastic. And whenever anything you do in life, if you get an opportunity, there's nothing guaranteed. You still got to make it at work. You got to, people say, well, I can open the door for you, but you've still got to go through it. And so when I got the opportunity, I gave it everything I had, and it worked out.
I remember I called a game for Westwood One, and I had zero experience. Told the people I had zero experience, but they needed a guy. So I only had maybe a week to prep for it. Now I've done TV, but never the color analyst. Never done it. I did it for radio. First play, it's it's like a dive. It's like a 3-yard run I forget my broadcaster who I was with, and he's like, oh yeah, so and so, 3-yard run, and he looks at me, and I was like, I get the next one. Like I had nothing, and it was terrified, petrified.
First game I worked with Keith Jackson, the great Keith Jackson.
Oh yeah, great.
And there's the kickoff, offensive team comes out, and he gives the starting lineups, the first play, boom. He gives the defensive lineup, boom, second down, boom. And I hadn't said anything. And so third down comes and ball's punted away, and we go to commercial. And he looks at me, he goes, well, Foutsy, are you going to talk today? And I said to him, Keith, I just love hearing your voice. I can't help it.
That's probably what I should have said. Man, I just like hearing your voice. It was, I had nothing. I had nothing.
The worst time to get nothing is in a blowout. Okay, now it's 40-0, and it's 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I said, I'm done. I got no notes for 40-0.
Yeah, I was like, the play wasn't sexy. I was just like, Rome, clueless. I didn't know what to say. I was like, he ran for 3 yards. What you want me to say? Like, just that's part of the game.
I have not called games like that, so but they say, you take your notes, but don't be stuck by them. Because whatever you're seeing in front of you, that's the most important thing.
And that's probably what I should have did.
It's fine. But you also have rookie jitters, and it's hard. And sometimes you don't need to get in.
That was my welcome to broadcasting moment.
Yeah,
100%.
What was your welcome to broadcasting moment?
Oh, I had so many. Well, I worked with Dick Stockton, and my first 2 years, and Dick was a great broadcaster, but a kind of a nervous Nelly in the booth. And again, the same type of thing where there's a replay, and usually the analyst has a talkback key that can talk to the truck and say, give me the end zone of that replay. And then so I know what I'm looking at, and I can tell the people, well, look at the defensive end, got too far up the field, blah, 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 blah. And so this replay comes up, and I have no idea what it is, And so I'm just looking at it, trying to think of something to say. And I get this from Stockton. He's telling me to talk. And I grabbed his wrist. I said, no, don't do that. So, don't tell me to talk. Do that again, I'll break your...
Did you have a favorite partner? So obviously,
me
and Batman and Robin over here. This is my guy, my co-host. Who was your Robin, or who was your your combo, the guy you worked with the best?
Well, I started with Dick, then I went to Vern Lundquist.
Vern's still doing
awesome. I worked with Brent Musburger. Okay,
you were with the best.
I worked with Keith Jackson.
Yeah,
I worked with Al Michaels. I worked with Dick Enberg. I worked with Ian Eagle. Now I'm working with Noah Eagle, his son. So I have been so blessed to have worked with a Hall of Fame announcers. Are you kidding me? Keith Jackson, Dick Enberg, Al Michaels, come on. So for me, pick out a favorite, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can tell you what each one preferred as their beverage after the game.
Well, you got to kind of decompress.
Absolutely.
You have to decompress. Like, it's the only way to kind of like, because, I would also love, man, because everybody talks about it, the environment. Like when you're calling a game from within the stadium, being in those moments, especially if you're in college. Some NFL stadiums have different vibes,
Sure.
But the college atmosphere, like you can't, you don't get it all the way from the TV, and you can't pick up. And then they said calling games, actually, that's the best part about it. It's actually the environment in the stadiums.
Yeah.
And so maybe you could give me a list of some of the best environments you've been in, because to me, they said that's the real highlight of calling a game.
Yeah. The college stadiums, you got that right.
Yeah.
The Horseshoe.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I've never been to a game in the Horseshoe. I've been to the Horseshoe, but Ohio State's.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Everybody's wearing red. I mean, everybody.
See it red.
But Keith and I were lucky enough to do the USC-Texas national
Rose Bowl.
title game at the Rose Bowl. And to be standing next to Keith Jackson for the national title game at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Always talked about the backdrop.
Oh, yeah, the broad shoulders of the San Gabriel Mountains. I heard it a million times. I mean, you talk about, the Sistine Chapel. This is it.
It is.
Of football, college or pro.
That's
Plus,
awesome.
it was an awesome game.
Was there any advice your dad ever gave you? What's the best advice your dad gave you as it pertains to broadcasting, since you went the route he did?
He said, "Be prepared. Be prepared.
Yeah.
And don't force things. Don't step on your partner's toes.
Mm-hmm.
Find a rhythm.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Now, he did radio.
And television.
He did television too. Okay,
Yeah.
because it is a difference.
Yes.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
And that was something that I had to learn. Like, I had to be very descriptive.
Right.
On the radio, I was just like, "Oh yeah,
You're still doing them, right?
No, I did. I did a one. I just did it one time just to help the. Just
They
to help
want him
them
back.
out.
He has 4 kids and is trying to find time.
Yeah.
Well, I did some radio too.
Okay.
For Westwood One, as an analyst, and there's a way of doing it where you've got a monitor that is not synced up with the play,
Yes.
and so you watch the play, and then you watch the monitor, and by that time you've seen the play twice.
Yeah.
And now it's your turn to talk. You know exactly how to describe it because now you've seen it twice.
Yeah.
Because it's too hard the first time because so many things are happening. Did the safety come down or the linebacker or whatever? But now if you have that thought, what happened, then you can find it on that second look.
But it took me a minute to do that because sometimes I'll be watching. I was like, wait, I need to see it again.
Yeah.
Like, oh snap! Like I just need to do it more. I just need to get more reps at it because it was just like sink or swim.
It's great fun.
It is. I had fun, but I was like very nervous in the beginning. I was
Sure.
just like, oh my god, like I'm prepared. I know the game. I know all the players. I got my notes. Don't be bound by my notes. But I was just like, what am I supposed to say now? And then I started showing favoritism for one team, and I know you're not allowed to do that.
Well, I think if you're calling it for the Bears, I think it's okay to be.
Well, I wasn't calling it for the Bears.
Oh, never mind.
I was not calling it for the Bears. We were all supposed to be neutral. And I was like, oh, the Bears, they just scored. He got a peanut punch. Yeah. And he was like, I like your excitement. Just don't be so excited for the Bears. Show that same excitement for the Jaguars. And I was like, my bad. I'm just.
Well, the other thing is that you're going to get that criticism whether you're straight down the middle or not.
That's true, too.
Because these fans, they want to hear yes. They don't want to hear the negative about their team.
Right, absolutely.
And, the other thing is that when you're in a blowout as a broadcaster, you just pile it on the team that's winning.
Yeah.
Because the fans of the teams that are getting blown out, they change the channel, dude. They're watching.
That's a great point.
They're
That
watching
is a
something
great
else.
point, yeah.
That is a great point, actually. I don't have to be nice.
And
'cause
if
they're not even
they
watching.
complain, you go, hey, play better.
Yeah.
Your team sucks.
I'm stealing that right there. That's a good one.
When you called that Rose Bowl, because that's some people say it's the greatest college football game ever.
Yeah.
And Vince Young runs into that end zone at the end. There's not much you can say besides just letting the moment happen.
Yep.
What were you like in that booth you're looking there with Mr. Jackson, and you're just like, how? What do you do? You know?
Well, at moments like that, you let the camera take over.
Yeah.
Because they're capturing all the pictures. Mm-hmm. And the people at home are going crazy.
Yeah. So they're not listening to you.
Whether they're happy or sad. Okay. God, SC fans are mad. But, Keith's call is so iconic. 4th down, this is it for the national title. Vince Young going for the corner. He's got it. That's it. And the crowd, it gives me shivers to even remember that call, but that's how clear and concise it was. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm thinking, like you said, what do I say?
Nothing.
And so I came up with something really brilliant. And I said, Keith, he's invincible. And, the year before, they played Michigan in the Rose Bowl, and Vince scored 4 times, untouched. And in this game, he scored 3 times, including the winner. So you talk about a Rose Bowl Hall of Famer, Vince Young.
Was your goal always was the goal always to follow in your dad's footsteps after football?
I wanted to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wish I had studied broadcasting in college.
Yeah.
But, that was the 70s.
I get it. Say less.
I get it. Say I would less. Like to know what that means.
I get it. Say less. I get it.
There's an old saying that because I grew up in San Francisco in the late 60s, and if you remember the 60s in San Francisco, you weren't there.
Okay. Okay, I think I may understand that a little bit better.
Say less. That's what I was going to say, less.
Okay.
How did your dad feel about you getting in the broadcasting and watching you progress and the way your career took off?
Well, he was proud, and because but he was a critic. He would send me a list of things. I mean, he hated the word incredible. Mm-hmm. Because there is nothing in this world that is incredible. You can, if you follow my thinking, you add a negative to a word credible. But if it's credible, what's incredible? Is that better than credible? And so, and then you give me a list of words, synonyms for great.
Instead of just saying great.
Oh, that's a great play. Great. That's an incredible play. And so I'd go, remarkable. That's a good one.
That is good. But these are like little notes that, myself being in the analyst broadcasting area or realm recently, like the people that are listening to these things, this is what they're listening for. Yeah. It's the little words that they're like, I just don't like that. And they hold on to these things. They all do have their own opinions. I love that your father was like, but that separates you immediately because you're able to use other words or you just sound differently just based upon those things.
I really admire wordsmiths, I do a lot of crossword puzzles, I was on Wheel of Fortune, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, way back when. Yeah. And Dan Hampton was one of the contestants. Okay. And Joe Theismann was one of the contestants. And, it's great fun, But I had a sharp gal with me because we were paired with a fan from each of the teams. And, we kicked butt, and poor Joe and Dan, they got peanuts. and so as I was leaving the studio, Theismann yells at me, Dan, wait a minute. How'd you do that? And I said, I didn't even turn all the way around. I just said, do a crossword puzzle, Joe. That's all it is.
Yeah, I need to do more crossword puzzles.
Yeah, I don't do them either. It's okay.
No. All right, so amazing career in broadcasting, amazing career in football, Hall of Famer. If you had to pick 4 people to put on Mount Rushmore.
Oh, jeez.
Who would those 4 people be? And it doesn't have to just be football. It's just the people that have made you who you are today. On the field, off the field, just in life.
Well, my dad.
Okay.
Don Coryell.
Why Don?
I wouldn't have this jacket on, man.
Okay.
Okay.
You said if he was still coaching now, you'd find a way to get out.
Find a way to get another year too.
Especially at $30 million.
Right? Maybe he can give me a job, 30 mil, right?
Yeah, then you start thinking about, you got to put a Keith Jackson on the Mount Rushmore, don't you?
Yeah.
The fourth one would be my wife.
Why?
She's my wife for 33 years. My partner, my best friend, and.
I love it. Keep going. Like you said, what you keep going. I like that. Well, Dan, I don't want to call this the hot seat, but we appreciate you, man, for coming out to this podcast.
I appreciate your preparation and the conversation we had. I really do. I think, I do a lot of these deals, and a lot of them are not as good as this one.
Oh, man.
I appreciate it.
No, man, that's
Thank you
ultimate
very
compliment.
much.
Thank you so much. I just want you to know how much you influence this game. I don't know if you still get to hear it all the time at a great-looking 85-year-old man that's really 75. But just know how much you affected this game. How many people look back and like, man, your team, the San Diego Superchargers, which is a big thing, how much you guys really changed the game and how much people loved watching you just throw the football all around the game. And I know you see it now. Everybody loves to throw the ball. But you were a team of rare air. And so how many people were just fans of you, even from like the state of Alabama? Like you had people in my household that grew up loving Dan Fouts. And I heard about Dan Fouts since I was a young kid from my oldest brother because of the performances that you guys put on offensively. So I thank you because you influenced my household all the way in Alabama from the style of play. So whenever I get to be around you Hall of Famers and you great guys that influenced the game before me, number one, thank you. And number two, just like, man, we appreciate it because this is what we get to do and we get to try and pass it to the next generation. But it's you guys who left it in such great hands and put the game in such a place that allows us to be who we are. So thank you.
Thank you for all of that.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, both of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Peanut Tillman. This is Roman Harper, and that is the Dan Fouts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the NFL Players Second Acts podcast, and we are out.